Hey there. This is the ABTG Random Access Netrunner Tournament. We're in the finals right here between Mostly Smart and Brulo. Brulo's username is Techie on JinDekiNet, so it's a little confusing at times. I'll be referring to him as Brulo, and on screen you'll see Techie. Let me zoom in once or twice so we can get a good view on this. Really good you guys are. Killing ABTG. Okay. Wow. All right. So Brulo is on Fisk. That's a fascinating ID choice. And Mostly Smart is here on Spark. So the Random Access Tournament, everyone was given, when they signed up for the tournament, they were allowed to ban one ID, I believe, and then they were given a random ID from a pick of two, or not. Sorry, they were given two random IDs, one Corp, one Runner. So we ended up seeing some really interesting games, really interesting IDs playing against each other, really jank stuff, kind of. I believe Outflanked made it extremely far using a Nasir deck, which is really something fun, you know. Anyway, start of this game, we see Fisk goes for oh wow, that's a big steal. Fisk opens with a sure gamble, solid runner choice. Lamprey, he wants to go for HQ hate. I'm used to this sort of being referred to as Spanish influenza, the Gabe deck that runs Lamprey and really focuses on just kind of hitting HQ repeatedly for money and sort of econ tempo swing. You can see here, Mostly Smart really tried to stop that with a wraparound. That's going to be a big obstacle for Brulo until he can get a barrier breaker onto the board. Wraparound has 7 strength unless there's an installed Fractor. You can use fun stuff like Panch, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but Panchy, the new program in Kalagoda, will allow you to set ice to be fractors and therefore reduce wraparound strength. Back to the game at hand. So we're seeing a lot of pressure from Brulo. He's got his Lamprey out, and he's not really able to get an HQ now, but he's going to hit R&D repeatedly, and he wants to install a shard here. So he's going to... Well, he can click on it, but that's fine. He's going to sort of do what he needs to get the Eden shard out there. Eden shard is really the least seen shard, I think. It forces the Corp to draw 2 cards, which I guess synergizes with Laramie, who is attempting to make the Corp overdraw in general. Anyways, so we've seen Brulo's kind of drawn some cards. He's really kind of pushed Mostly Smart around. He's been running R&D repeatedly. He ran HQ and forced a res there. Mostly Smart's probably going to stabilize those some now. He's got an Adonis out. He probably pinged Brulo for 1 on that because of Spark. I don't actually see the ping on Brulo here in the log. That's interesting. Might have to talk to them after the fact. Oh, there may have been a... No, I don't know what would have caused that. Anyways, we see Brulo attacks the Adonis, goes for it. There was a special offer there. Special offer is it's sort of the third hedge fund for NBN at this point. They have Sweep, they have Hedge Fund, they now have Special Offer. It's an ice that trashes itself and gives credits when it's fired. It's also trap ice, so it's very hard to break unless you're using an AI breaker. In general, we're seeing Mostly Smart is econing up a lot. He's got Pad Campaign, he's got some other owners, probably an advertisement, probably going to ping Brulo for 1 on that. Brulo has security testing out, which I think is going to be huge for him. He's going to be able to keep money along with... going to check. I got a notification on the Slack. Probably didn't need to do that on stream. Anyways, yeah, that should up on the stream. I should pull Slack over to my other monitor so I don't interrupt the stream with it. Anyways, Brulo's gonna. This is actually pretty good for. I like the sneak door here. He's gonna get a good HQ assault. He's gonna keep getting his lamprey procs. He's gonna get the chance to see the cards that he's forcing Spark to draw. Fisk can make the corp draw every time he hits a central, which is generally strong play. Well, not strong play. Sorry, it's sort of a unique ID that has weird applications. A big part of this is the fact that he does have this security testing out, though. Spark is going to be able to keep paying him for 1 credit each turn by running advertisements repeatedly. The security testing means that he can continue to gain credits and continue to sort of econ up, even though he's being pinged by Spark for those credits. He's just running repeatedly for four sneak doors, just trying to get the lamprey, trying to knock his credits down. I don't necessarily know if I agree with this because Mostly Smart has 2 advertisements rezzed here. He's going to get a bunch of money back. Yeah, he's back at 7. So blowing a turn just to kind of hit for 4 lamprey procs doesn't feel that efficient to me. He did make Mostly Smart draw a lot, so he may have been looking for agendas. What did we actually see in the accesses here? Security testing, Smart. So he sees a Sweeps week. He sees another Sweeps week, possibly the same Sweeps week, Jackson Howard, and the 3rd Sweeps week. I'd be really surprised those were all the same Sweeps week. We haven't seen any played yet, so there's a good chance there's multiple in his hand. And Brulo's sitting at under 5 cards, so he reduces the efficiency of the Sweeps week, which is probably why we're not seeing it being played out of Mostly Smart. They're just sitting in his hand for now. Mostly Smart did overdraw based on all the cards that Brulo fed him, and so we've seen discard 1 here. Brulo scores as breaking news. But he managed to install a bunch of stuff onto the board. And a GFI. Wow, this is really something. Mostly Smart should really and there's the one that sweeps again. Should really be looking to ice up archives at some point here. Letting Brulo. He knows Brulo has the sneak door. He knows Brulo has the lamprey. He knows Brulo really wants to hit HQ repeatedly. I assumed he just wasn't holding agendas in hand, and therefore would didn't really care about the accesses. I mean, the lamprey is sort of inconsequential if you have these advertisements read. It's obviously something. Losing 4 credits is a pain, but I would usually give up. I'm happy to let the runner take those accesses if it's not really benefiting the runner's board state at all, right? He's running repeatedly. This is going to be bad for Brulo. He just hit a turnpike. He's going to have to take a tag. He can clear that tag if he wants to click twice and remove the tag, but that's not a great situation for him. That's 3 clicks that are really not moving him towards an econ state. He might be, though, thinking that he can just score. Well, there's an NAPD contract. That would be game point right there. Unfortunately, Brulo does not have the credits to take this NAPD contract, so we don't actually see. Oh, we see the security testing. Good use of that on the pad. He draws a card, and he decides to not clear the tag. Huh. Bold man. Plays very aggressive here. I don't know if I like that second draw, because then you've now increased the value of Sweeps Week. So Mostly Smart can. Oh, he's not even going to Sweeps Week. He's just going to. He fast advances out of Beal, brings him down to 1 credit, which is pretty low. Fast-paced game. I don't know if I agree necessarily with that play on Mostly Smart's point. I think I would have wanted to turtle up and secure myself a little bit more. Going down to 1 credit is rough. Granted, you've got ice on all your centrals. Brulo's just going to go tag me. He doesn't care. He knows he's at match point. Well, not quite match point, but basically match point. He just needs to score 1 2-point agenda. He knows there's Asterships. He knows there's Beal. It's NBN. He knows there's GFI. He just wants to force the corp to draw, putting new stuff into his hand, and see if he can pull that agenda out. Here's the Sweeps Week. So yeah, we saw Brulo go up to 2 cards instead of clearing the first tag. I guess now Brulo was planning on going to tag me anyways at this point, so he doesn't care that he has to tag. It's going to hurt though if Mostly Smart is able to get rid of that security testing. That's all Brulo's econ right now. When he drew the second card though, he basically set Sweepspeak to its max value. Sweepspeak is 1 credit per card in the runner's hand. So when drawing up his full hand size, oh wow, double lamprey. That's something. This is now, it's one thing to be being hit by a single lamprey while you have an Adonis and a pad up, and you're gaining credits at the same rate the lamprey is taking them. It's another thing entirely for the runner to have 2 lampreys. He's going to drop 2 credits off Mostly Smart each time he hits with the HQ here. Yeah, just add 2 tags. It's not that it's hurting you now. Yeah, we're seeing that Mostly Smart is Brulo is going to full tag me. He's going to have 6 tags on him at the end of this. He's now brought Mostly Smart down to 3 credits. I think you have to purge at this point if you're Mostly Smart. I think you need to do something with that lamprey. You can't. It's one. Sorry, I was saying earlier. It's one thing to just have 1 lamprey hitting you over and over again, and you're sort of staying even. You've got an Adonis and a pad, and your credits are floating around the same point they were turn to turn, and you're just sort of doing whatever you want. Now, Brulo has a very high chance of just zeroing him out. He's now drawn, so he can't purge the lamprey stay on the board for another turn. If I'm Brulo, though, I hit, I security testing this server too, because my security testing's still up. I get the 2 credits off that, and then I just lamprey twice, and then I go check whatever's in these remotes. This might be Ash here, but there's a launch campaign to ping Brulo for his last credit. That's actually good on Mostly Smart's part. It helps him. It's going to help him have credits coming into his next turn. I'm really kind of surprised he hasn't trashed the security testing though. That's the only way Brulo really has credits, and he's, granted he only gets 2 credits a click, but at a game where we're seeing just the individual credits matter so much. I don't know if he can't. Oh no, he can. Turnpike is not toll booth. When you encounter you lose 1, you don't necessarily. It's not toll booth where it just ETRs you as soon as you can't pay the toll. A common trick to get around toll booth is you run at it when you only have 2 credits, or a way to drop yourself to 2 credits beneficially, so that the toll booth is rezzed, but it doesn't actually hit you for the -3 credits. Brulo he's lampreyed the corp twice. He decides to draw. He saw a Sweepspeak. Again, I don't know if the draw is the right move here. You powered up the Sweepspeak. You're trying to keep the corp down low. By taking the draw there, yeah, you've let it so Sweepspeak hits max value, and you've kept the corp on 1 credit. If you just take one more hit on HQ, you drop him to 0 credits. He doesn't get a max value Sweepspeak if and when he does Sweepspeak, and he has to click just to use a Sweepspeak. He reses the pad to try to get off Brulo's credits. Brulo special orders. This is something we haven't seen Brulo actually trying to make any kind of move against. Yeah, breach. Okay. I expect that Brulo will. And there's a pop-up. That's a pain. Yeah, he can't go through archives anymore. So I expect that on his next turn, Brulo will hit this with his security testing. Breach costs how much to put into play? Let's see, where is it? Breach. 2, yeah. So I expect that he will try to security testing and then try to hit HQ from the front. Potentially even R&D. Mostly Smart goes for another fast advance. This is unfortunate on Brulo's part. He can't seem to find these agendas. Either Mostly Smart is top decking them or something. All right, so we've seen he hits the pad with security testing. He runs this remote. That's an interesting choice. I guess he assumes this remote is probably hiding an agenda. It's probably a GFI if it's anything. And there's Eli, yeah. There's probably something good in this agenda. It's probably Mostly Smart was thinking, oh, Brulo is hitting me repeatedly in HQ. He's going to keep seeing everything in my hand. Even though I can't score this GFI right now because I'm under too much sort of assault, I'm going to stick it in the server with this Eli and this Ash so it's safe there. Because I know Brulo doesn't have any breakers. We see the sneak door beta goes down, yeah. And now the wraparounds have gone down to 0 strength. The wraparound is now just a 2 credit break because Breach is not a 1/1 breaker. But that means, suddenly Brulo can get into R&D, can get into HQ. If I'm Brulo here, I probably, security testing, get that click going. I probably don't try to run... Oh, he does. He's really convinced there's an agenda in there. Which is, highly possible. Yep, here's the Ash. So he doesn't try to beat the trace, I assume, unless, well, let's see what Mostly Smart puts to the trace. He puts it at 4. Let me his 0 link. Brulo could beat the trace and see what's there. He puts it at 4. Brulo does not beat the trace. He just assumes that he'll be able to come back next turn and get this, whatever this thing is. And there's the pad to ping him for 1 again. I think if you're Mostly Smart, you really want a Jackson. You want to be able to Jackson right on top of this agenda, if this is an agenda, and then send everything back to the archives. There's some unres or unknown card here in archives. I don't know if that's something that... And there's a Jackson. Okay. So now he just needs to find something to install over the agenda. No, he installs something new. Okay. Alright. Possibly another Ash. I think that the better move here, and you're allowed to uninstall whatever is there when you install something new. So he could have installed this Ash on this server and trashed the agenda that was there, assuming that is an agenda, and then use Jackson to shuffle them back in. Instead, we're going to see Brulo is decided that he is not going to play around with the Eli and whatever this thing is. He's going to go back to HQ, which is where he believes the game is. And he forces the draw. He installs Utopia Shard. So he doesn't go for the... Interesting. Utopia Shard's kind of an interesting choice here because Jackson's in play. So if he did dump agendas with the Shard, he hasn't put Mostly Smart in a really precarious position because Mostly Smart can get the agendas out with Jackson. Oh, and we see another Astra script. Alright, Mostly Smart is now definitely on game point. You can no longer... we saw Brulo come out to a really intense start. I think now we're seeing, he's getting penalized by the fact that he hasn't been able to... He's been making just these sort of trying to end the game plays and not really building himself up at all. He's only, you can see, he's only 13 cards through his deck. He's made it a quarter-ish, a little bit more through the entire deck. There's a lot in there that he hasn't gotten to. We've only seen, we saw 2 shards actually, which is surprising that he's a limit 1 per deck. And we've seen Breach as the only breaker. And the legwork, okay. This is a solid play, I think, on Brulo's part. He has to force the draw. Yeah, he forces the draw. He basically has to find an agenda here, though. He finds Launch Campaign, he finds Ash, he finds Session. He doesn't find an agenda. He says GG. I don't know if it's GG yet. I think this is GFI. I don't think Mostly Smart can score off the board. Oh, that's going to be game right there. Alright, so sweet Jesus, says Mostly Smart. That was quite the assault from Brulo. Relentless, to say the least. Well played. I believe this means that we will get to see the reverse side of this. Brulo has not lost up to this point, so he needs to be double eliminated, which means it'll be a second game. Yeah, this was quite the game. I was sort of talking nonstop, but you don't really see that kind of aggression from runners. Is sort of, yeah, that's an NAPD. Oh, interesting. Brulo says, I knew it was an NAP, no way to reach it. Yeah, inside job would have been huge, but I'm guessing that's Ash in there with it. It was really fun. Yeah, that kind of aggression is just something you see from runners these days. I think Soham would have been proud. That was just absolutely, every turn was 2 or 3 runs. We're going to see the switch side. If Brulo wins the next game as Corp, he will still win the tournament. Whereas Mostly Smart will also win the tournament. So next game is for all the marbles. Only 2 more agendas in R&D. Yeah, that makes sense. 10, 16. I'm going to cut the stream here so that we can have separate videos for both games. But the stream will be back on very shortly.